Welcome back to the video. We're doing a little addendum on one of the previous videos involving pub sub triggers for executing your virtual machine workloads. As previously, we were only passing in a job name inside the message body, and this was being used to extract the relevant Docker image for running your pipelines. But you can only run them in one configuration. Perhaps you want to run it in multiple configurations on the fly. So you just change your inputs and you just hit run again on your cloud scheduler and you run it in a different setup. Maybe that's something you want to execute. And that's what we're going to try to enable here. So we've got a script configuration. Maybe you want to add in a backfill setting with different start and end dates to do backfills in your data. And this will help compensate for any pipeline failures that you're having on your system, and you're not going to need to open up a developer environment just to do your backfills. You can do it straight from the GCP interface. The tricky part here is passing in the pub sub message from the Cloud Run service into the compute engine. Thankfully, we're only adding in a singular parameter inside the gcloud command. You'll see it in a second here. So we got our gcloud command here, and we've added this container env parameter, and we're creating a message environmental variable inside the Docker container. So when our Python script executes, it's going to seek out that message environmental variable and it will parse it out and it will process it in the script to modify the behavior. Something worth mentioning is that the message data is base 64 encoded. You don't want to pass in JSON strings over this command, as it's going to garble the inputs and you're going to lose data in the process. So the best thing to do here is to keep it base 64 encoded, pass it in, and then once it hits the Python script inside the virtual machine, you can decode it at that side and parse out the key value pairs and use that to pass it into different bits of logic into the script and modify your script behavior. So yeah, that's what we have. We also have like one more minor change. We've added a zone list for creating our virtual machine, as sometimes there's resource contention when you're creating a virtual machine in specific zones. So we've got like a little retry process. So for example, if your virtual machine fails to be created in Europe West 1B, it will go ahead and retry the process on the next one on the list, which would be Europe West 1C. And this will help combat any VM creation issues you might encounter in the process. So I think that's a little nice touch we've added there. Yeah, that's it for the VM initialization. I've got a test script set up to validate that we are passing in a pub sub message into the Python script within the virtual machine. And we need to validate that all the key value pairs exist inside that message and that we're able to parse it through our Python script. And that's what this script attempts to do. You can see that we're attempting to get the message environmental variable, and then we're going to do a series of print statements to validate that we're pulling through the correct message with the correct key value pairs within that message body. So what we'll do at this point is, I've got a cloud scheduler job set up to run this test. We will just execute it and we will monitor in the logs to ensure that we're getting those messages passed through into the correct environment. So we'll start off by going into, so you can see there's no virtual machines running right now. We'll just validate that here. In the cloud scheduler, we've got our test pub sub message job. I will just show you the message body here. So you can see a variety of key value pairs involving the script setting, the end date, and the start date of the job, which doesn't really matter. The key value pairs don't really matter here. The main thing is, does all the data reach the endpoint? And can we pass it into a Python dictionary where we can actually fiddle around and put it through different bits of logic? So we'll just select that job. I'm going to hit force run. And now we're going to go into the logs and just make sure that things are working as intended. And we're going to see the flow of the pub/sub message through the different services and hopefully into the virtual machine at the very, very end. So, okay. So we've passed a trigger into the VM initializer. And we can see the message data that's encoded that we're sending over the network. And it's creating a virtual machine in Europe West 1B. We've got our VM initialization script, and we can see in our container and env message, we've got the encoded message built in here. And we're expecting to see this in the output after the virtual machine is created as it's executing the Python script. So we'll just give it a moment to execute, and we'll just stand by to see what happens in those print statements at the very, very end. Okay, so we're extracting the image, and at this stage I should be expecting some test logs appearing inside here. So let's just go seek them out. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so it's initialized the test. So below this we should be seeing the pub/sub message at the target virtual machine. So yeah, so we've passed in the raw pub/sub message into the virtual machine successfully using that message environmental variable. And immediately after that, we're running a decode, a base64 decode on that encrypted message. And we can see the key value pairs inside that JSON string that we sent via the cloud scheduler. And then we follow that up by converting it into a Python dictionary, which gives us more or less the same output. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's going to repeat that in a for loop 3 or 4 times. I was having some issues with the logging statements previously, I don't know why. But it seems to be working correctly. And at this stage, we can see that the virtual machine is being terminated. And yeah, I think the workload is finished. So I think that's worked successfully as far as I'm concerned. And I think we can take this methodology and adapt it into our current chess scripts involving the ingestion and the transformation. And we can add a backfilling capability into the script, or maybe we can do backfilling for certain players, individual players, for longer time periods. And I think it's going to be a nice touch since we can run this from any computer and we don't need to boot up a developer environment just to run this type of operation. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.